people who can't win, people who don't try to win, people who try their best and still can't win. They are all worthless trash. There are two kinds of people in this world. Those who are born with worth and everybody else, no matter how hard a lowly human tries.
Young people who are gonna think that this is an easy alternative for me to deal with my stress and anxiety.
Blood, gore, gut spilling.
I want you.
There's a reason why serial killers are the most watched on Netflix, or why racist Mario, where he sexually assaults Donkey Kong, has millions of views. Flash games. You don't often see a dude getting his head blown off on your way to school, but you do on Instagram Reels. One thing that stood out growing up is our infatuation to search up insane shit online. It's a form of escape from our mundane lives while we get locked down by authority figures like our parents and teachers. Then we had COVID. It changed how we saw authority figures. We had toilet paper running out en masse. Parents didn't know what the hell to do, so did the government. No one had an idea what was going on, and it made a lot of us uncertain for the future. So we grew more distrustful towards them. Then they looked pathetic. It broke that illusion of faith that we had as teenagers. It made us rebellious, so we sought out for the untraditional, something brutal and deadly. And in this middle line lies between childish and fucked up. We have Danganronpa. What if teenagers placed in a setting where usually at was suddenly subverted into a place with seemingly no rules, kinda? So we have no parents to govern us and we're left with our own devices. What could go wrong? A lot. A lot can go wrong. Trigger Happy Havoc, despite its stupid humor, Monokuma making fun of our little flagpole, and absurd characters, surprisingly lines up with its intent.
You're my bitch!
It's handing us a silver platter of what that fantasy we've sought for as teenagers would look like. Fucked up. Despite how random the game is, it still keeps the themes we usually go through as high schoolers. Firstly, we have the titles. Leon, being the ultimate baseball star, desires to be himself. And Ifumi, on the other hand, is not afraid to share all about his interests, a little too much even. Yet, when you look at his free time events, he struggles to balance both this openness and the social backlash he might receive from others. It still shows that, at the end of the day, these are high school kids struggling at this pivotal point of their lives, finding themselves before they grow into adults. These ultimate titles are like the titles we had back in high school, like the jock or the popular kid or the nerd. We're eager to find our identities, so the easiest way to do that is to pretty much put a simple category on ourselves and to make this complicated journey just a little bit easier. Or you could just do an MBTI test on 16 personalities and put it on your bio and completely misdiagnose yourself. It also isn't afraid to delve in shame. Celestia Luthenberg, the ultimate gambler, is a lie. She's a mask to hide Yasuhiro, noted for being cheap. This never sat right with her, to the point that she fabricated this entire persona, having an estranged relationship with her family and her only friend being Grand Boy Shari, her cat. You can see it in the pre-tragedy photos of Class 78. She sought to be alone, looking dignified compared to others, probably because she thought everyone else didn't meet her standards, which is quite funny. Celestia is Japanese and she doesn't like that. She looked rigid and almost out of place, but no matter what, Makoto upon first meeting her can tell she's lying, seeing through the disguise. She gets pissed the most when we shatter her persona in front of everyone. She uses deceit due to shame of her true self, not only towards others, but also attempting to fool her very self. She hated Ifumi, which is sad because it's her only friend in this franchise. Ifumi was open about his interests, while Celestia, on the other hand, was not. No matter how well she constructed the third trial, there's always cracks that end up seeping in, revealing Taiko Yasuhiro. Her favorite food is still gyoza, and still loves where she's from, Toshigi Prefecture, not somewhere in France. Another character who faces shame is Chihiro and Mondo, and their approach contrast each other. In the second motive, they were going to get their secrets revealed, while Mondo's is that he killed his brother. Ours is just that we piss our bed.
Now the flowers will grow.
Chihiro used said motive to better himself, while Mondo uses his strong persona to hide his guilt. The two explored their sexual identities, while Mondo and Kiyotaka delve in this homoerotic battle in the sauna, while we watch in the cuck chair. Chihiro watched one Sigma Funk edit to work on himself to be more of a man and help others.
How about 8 inches and thick?
These battling thoughts are reminiscent to high school, trying to fit the archetype of a girl or a boy. It's why many of us resonated with the game beneath the executions, exploring topics like gender identity. Then we have Makoto, who represents the average, suffering from imposter syndrome, comparing himself to the ultimates, knowing all about him from reading the anonymous internet boards.
Do we even know who is this 4chan?
However, instead of succumbing to inferiority,
I don't mind if you kill me.
he opened the gates at Hope Speak, an hour early even, and continued on anyway. Monokuma, being the only authority figure in this game, represents our teachers and parents, and Junko makes the cast succumb to the murders, each investigation of Kyoko leading to distrust looming in the air. There's cynicism in everyone's thoughts, expected for us high schoolers, but Makoto is an outsider. He's a mere high school student, just like us, with only luck being the reason he got to Hope Speak. Yet, he took the chance to do so anyway. He's boring because he's a mirror of ourselves, stuck in the mundane, and we wish to escape it through media like this franchise that delves in edgy and grotesque themes. It explains why we watched overpowered characters in isekais that grow powerful in physical or magical strength, or even grow a harem. Makoto isn't that. His only strength is our ability to continue with the trials, his determination. Although he kinda has a harem.
Well, I'll pray.
He's grounded and is aware of his insignificance, so he uses that to find worth in himself, proving that he can beat Junko. His ultimate isn't a superpower, but instead the power to see hope in the meaningless. Being a teenager feels chaotic, and especially during COVID, it explains why many of us gravitated towards Danganronpa during this time. Makoto is the most human out of everyone. He isn't this cunning 200 IQ dark triad manipulator. If we were placed in a killing game, we'd probably act the same. But there's one thing that each and one of us share, why we continue to persevere. During the last trial, when Junko declares that the world outside is pretty much a wasteland, everyone hesitated. The prison we've built ourselves would be the best place to rot in. However, like teenagehood, despite how cringe this phase of our lives is, one thing going for us is a desire to get out of this cage authority figures like our parents set us in. That's what makes it such a memorable time of our lives, being ourselves, exploring personalities, being different, taking risks. When childhood is marked by creativity, teenagehood is noted for one's search for identity. The blurring line before we move to the real concrete world as adults. Even if the search is uncertain, awkward, and presents many risks, we take it on anyway. Taking foot in said wasteland is when we truly grow to find our true selves. That's the reason why we play Danganronpa to begin with, to escape from this cage and seek what the world is like without order. It's the epitome of teenagehood. Makoto never expected to get to Hope Speak. However, thanks to his hope to try, even with insurmountable odds, he gets accepted, and in return for his luck, he wanted to give that same hope to others. After Trigger Happy Havoc, the franchise takes on a different topic: worth. There's a whole market on after-class tutorings in cram schools in Korea and the rest of East Asia. ACT Princeton prep books here in the United States, AP students taking on an abundance of AP classes for their applications to stand out. It's all for the hope of getting into the most prestigious schools like Harvard or Stanford. Because if you graduated from a no-name uni, then you're no different to the rest. Because at its core, our culture runs off of shame. Established in Zero, Hope Speak Academy is the most prestigious high school in the franchise. This is an institution to study the ultimates to fund a certain project, the Hope Cultivation Plan. Every ultimate student is studied and used to install everything into one subject, Izuru Kamukura. However, this is expensive, so the Academy's steering committee thought of creating this reserve course. These students aren't ultimates, but they have to pay an astronomical tuition fee to maintain their enrollment just so they could say that, hey, I attended Hope Speak. Despite that, they're not alongside the ultimates. They have separate classes, exams, and teachers. It reshapes the narrative to separate those that are ultimate and those that aren't, creating first and second class people. While Makoto represents the hope to even try when the odds are insurmountable, getting in Hope Speak simply by luck, only to end up as a participant in the killing games, even as someone as insignificant as him, he persevered through determination and proceeded to survive for the sake of hope. In the reserve course, there's Hajime. Same voice actor as Alush. Hajime, on the other hand, is a more realistic depiction of that attempt. Not everything in life is as easy or simple as what the first game depicts. Hajime is insecure of himself. He worked hard, studying his butt off to get to Hope Speak, and having his parents pay absurd amounts of money to keep his enrollment, for the sake of being in the most prestigious high school in Japan. While the ultimates simply had to be born with their talents, he had to work harder than them, sacrifice more than them. Yet he is no closer to getting that same status as the ultimates. He was merely a commoner amongst the reserve corps students. Even before he was enrolled, was he alone in his class, others gossiping how expensive it must be for his parents to get him there. The social exclusion he faces is also apparent in the anime. He thinks of himself as different from the rest, hoping that hard work can get him there, alongside the ultimates. The offer from the academy that the best of the best from the reserve corps has a chance of being beside the ultimates. The exploitative usage of hope that they use to lure aspiring kids like Hajime, it's not so different to real life. If Trigger Happy Havoc emphasizes the fear of one's search for identity during teenage years, SDR2 is about a teenager's outlook for the future. Hajime believes this hope and he sees a possibility of being with the ultimates. To him, his only worth is that, having talent and the title of being there. Then he stumbles upon Chiaki, another ultimate. But despite that, Chiaki doesn't have any friends. Her only desire is to play video games on her own, because that's her ultimate. She's designed that way and her talent imprisons her. But Hajime also shares his like for gaming. And this sparks something within Chiaki, to use her talent to make friends. For an ultimate, it took Hajime for her to realize that. Then Chisa encouraged her to continue with this desire to make friends by using her talent to deepen her bond with Class 77-B, being their class rep to keep the class together, even without their homeroom teacher. It all started with Hajime, and Chiaki saw worth in him because of that. Chiaki realized that her talent that she's born with doesn't just define her worth, but it's what she decides to do with it. Assigning your worth to the talent that you're born with locks you in. But Hajime didn't learn that. As he hung out more with her, he realized that there was something dividing them, and that was her status. One's an ultimate, one's a mere reserve corps student. Chiaki even tells him that he doesn't need the system that he's born into to label whether he's worthy or not, because value is something we can create ourselves, not labels made by schools or jobs. You don't call yourself worthless just because people haven't seen the true you label you as such. Chiaki didn't become friends with Hajime because of his worth. She liked him because he gave her a chance to use her ultimate to make friends and be a great leader. Yet he wasn't convinced he was worthy to be beside Chiaki. No matter how hard he worked, he was no closer to truly being one of them. He's fallen to the propaganda of hope speak that's engraved into them, that the ultimates are the hope of the future and he wants to be part of that said future. So he does everything he can. So he falls for the Academy's Kamukura project. To him, this was the only way to help with his parents' expenditures for his schooling, to finally reach that glimmer of hope of being an ultimate, and being with Chiaki. He finally became an ultimate, at the cost of his name, his identity, his real worth. Hajime Hinata was stripped off of him, and only Izuru remained to be a puppet for the academy, a mere tool for the institution that he dedicated himself to. Eventually, Junko caught wind. The two are capable of predicting the future, and this ability ultimately brings a future no meaning. Without a system to follow, a title to chase for, he's ultimately bored. She starts showing him how meaningless hope is, how easy it is for the student council to succumb to despair and start killing each other. She uses Izuru, the byproduct that was funded by the reserve corps' hard work, and frame it as if he caused the tragedy, and the dominoes fall and the parade begins. To further push him into the pits of despair, he watches as the person he did this for, Chiaki, is tortured and killed. It had cost him the person he loved, the one who reminded him of his true worth. His only worth now was his title, his capabilities, not the person that was inside of him. In Chiaki's dying breath, she still knew Hajime was inside, the true worth that was always there, who gave her the ability to create precious memories she made with her class, and she was never able to say thank you. This begins Danganronpa 0. Junko is a suspect and is aided by Matsuda to turn her to Ryoko Otanashi. and give her amnesia to get away from questioning regarding the tragedy, having to rely on her notebook that was fabricated by him. However, her amnesiac state writes all about Matsuda's work that she'd eventually use to begin Trigger Happy Havoc to erase the cast's memories and why they sealed the campus in the first place. Throughout the book, there's 76 mentions of Kamukura but never shows himself. Ryoko, the ultimate analyst, can predict the future if fed enough information and doesn't get treatment for a set period of time. Her only fuel is her love for Matsuda. They've been childhood friends forever. She uncovers more of what the tragedy has transpired to, what the reserve corps students have become, and Matsuda's attempts at covering for Junko, getting rid of the steering committee's dead bodies, the president of the student council, the only person alive from the tragedy who could reveal the real culprit, is choked to death by him to keep Junko safe. Yuto Kamishiro helps Ryoko learn more regarding the Kamukura project, but he also explains what talent means to him. If you take away my actions as a spy, I'd have nothing left. An extremely unnoticeable child. That's all I'd be. He detests his talent of being a spy, hidden and out of sight. Goes through risky situations, even if it scares him inside, but continues to uncover the truth of the tragedy anyways. We can't choose how we live our lives. The moment we were given them, we already started living in our set scenario. Because you have a talent, you're assigned a predestined fate to struggle with. That's why we have to keep pushing forward, no matter how scared we are. He continues to persevere in spite of his talent. He goes against his sense of worthlessness he sees in it and turns it into an advantage, an optimistic perspective that serves his desire to be seen. He turns his worthlessness into something that's worthy. I'm sure if I'm able to solve everything, my name would be carved into the history of Hope's Peak Academy, the legendary spy who rescued the ultimate hope, Yuto Kamishiro. Well, that's before Matsuda snaps his neck. Yuto was willing to find meaning in this predestined fate of his. Not every ultimate sees worth in their talent, like someone. It makes their lives harder, but Yuto was able to change his future in hopes of becoming someone else that he was born as. When Junko became Ryoko, he had no memories to use her ultimate ability to predict the future, and only held the hope that Junko would be able to meet Matsuda throughout the novel. Her goal in the end was to make this journey as despair-inducing as possible, but in order to achieve that, she had to find hope in despair. In the end, she was able to complete that vision of hers, to kill off the person she only loved, revealing that she was responsible for Matsuda's mom's disease, the reason of Matsuda's goal to be the ultimate neurologist. He begged in his final moments for her answer, but she never gave it away to keep him at despair, even in his dying breath. Sure, she made it as despair-inducing as possible, but during her time as Ryoko, this ability to predict the future is non-existent. She could only use hope as her fuel to continue with this plan. Forgetting finally gave her a future. Throughout both games, Trigger Happy Havoc and SDR2, we forget and have our memories wiped. It gives us hope to cling on to. Forgetting makes the future possible. When you get to hope speak, you're already destined a good future, which explains why Class 77B didn't even have to attend class and just finish exams and graduate. There are no stakes, it's all just a waiting game, while the reserve course is beaten down into nothing. It's denying that future that someone else gives you, and to make it yourself instead. Ryoko, or Junko, was born with the ability to read into the future, and could only find despair in it, so she had to make life as unpredictable as possible in hopes of finding a future for herself. She's not so different from Yuto. They both suffer from their ultimate ability, but one wishes to change his fate for the better of others. The two wish to subvert the future they're placed into.
Hope lives on!
This is the end.
Hey, don't you...
Nagito. Finally, Nagito. Nagito Komaeda needs no introduction. I revealed him in the intro. From Nagito's long-ass speech, he believes in absolute hope, where even those that aren't worthy are not capable of spreading said hope. To the point that if despair is necessary for hope to prevail, then so be it. He believes in the system he's put in. He defines a solid line between the two, the worthy and the unworthy. And in order to be in the former, one has to be born with worth. And no matter how hard one tries, if you're born in the latter, you'll never amount to anything close to that of an ultimate. He believes in a sealed fate where effort means nothing. He is an ultimate, but we've seen with Makoto, it's not a talent you can control. It's by chance, and both ultimate lucky students have their own versions of this luck. Nagito's FTEs reveal just how destructive his own talent's been to his life. He's had to deal with extremely traumatic events because of something he's born with. To a developing mind even younger than a teenager, Nagito has to rationalize why such events happen. Why was he destined for a seemingly hellish talent that's taken his loved ones away without his control? And as a coping mechanism, he stuck to an authority figure that's helped guide these abstract concepts to something more concrete. Hope's Peak Academy gave him an explanation that in the end, hope is all that matters for humanity to prosper. To his mind, it probably explains everything bad that happens to him. He has to justify these events, so he subverts these self-loathing thoughts that silenced themselves to ruminate in his subconscious and his mind. It's probably for the greater good. Not only do these external factors affect his ideology, but also medical reasons. He suffers from frontotemporal dementia, which leads to OCD. So this comforting idea that finally cradles him becomes an obsession of his. It's up to him to uphold this hope that helped him cope with everything he's went through. He can't rely on others and has to do it himself, which aligns with this disorder. However, we've also mentioned that his subconscious self-loathing can explain why he sees himself as worthless. He desires control yet can't even control his very own talent that's caused everything in his life to fall apart. Throughout the franchise, he's always tried to take the initiative, to be the ultimate hope. So close from getting rid of Junko, only to be stopped by Izuru, who also possesses his talent. He always enacts chaos or plots despair-inducing events for the sake of an artificial hope he created to blossom. He wants to be responsible for it, both cause and the solution. In the Neo World program, he immediately takes initiative to enact hope, causing the first trial, and after learning of the remnants of despair, creates the fifth for all of them to die. What he shows opposes his ideology, that he's unworthy, that effort means nothing, because he shows effort. He speaks of self-loathing, but his obsession wants him to keep fighting for hope. This is the most apparent in the OVA. We get to truly see what he desires. In real life, his own luck has harmed others, but in his dream world of his, he receives bad luck so everyone else can have better lives. He wishes to be one with the crowd because he despises talent. He wants to be like the rest without its sealed fate. After his luck has hurt others, he wants that suffering to transfer onto him so that guilt will stop crushing him inside. Ultimately, he desires control over his fate, to use his talent to prevent the trauma that he's gone through. But he's so far down into this twisted sense of hope. In the end, it's not hope that he desires, but control. After his death in the Neo World program, he wants to be seen for his efforts. His portrayal of worthlessness was a part of his grandiosity. Nagito suffers from the guilt that his luck has done to others. We've established that. He despises talent because it's no different to luck. It's something that you're born into and it creates your worth. All he's wanted is control over his fate, his future. And he wishes that for once in his life, he has control over his fate and spreads hope onto others from all that despair that he's gone through, to show that he is capable. It's not worth that he really desires, it's the ability to use effort to change your destiny. He is the complete contrast to Makoto, who perseveres from the world around him, while Nagito creates a world of despair so he himself can create hope out of it. It's not authentic, but he's immersed himself so much into this delusion that he's willing to put lives in danger for his ideals, to show the world that he finally had control of his fate, that his suffering paid off for the greater good. In the end, he's doing this all for himself, like I said, to lessen that burden he feels. I can't provide a clean solution for Nagito because this is obviously a very, very sad scenario for him to go through. But it's not so different to Junko's. Being the ultimate analyst, nothing in this world can distract her from what she knows will happen next. The world is full of delusions. We continue to persevere because of hope. Hope is kind of a delusion, kind of. It's stepping into a pitch black room hoping you don't step into a nail and get tinnitus. Let's say, imagine being in a world full of idiots who think 2 + 2 = 5, when only you yourself knows the right answer. That's probably how Junko feels, but the world doesn't want to believe the truth because it's not comforting. The truth sucks, and you feel alone. You start playing with this predictive ability, pushing your sandcastle you yourself have spent a long time creating, because in your foresight, you could probably already visualize how it'll look. It's boring, it's stale, and you'll want to push life to its edge to make you feel something again. Things people find repulsive like violence can excite you, but only for so long. It's not so different to us. We've come full circle. Some of us consume these types of content to feel the edge, what ifs, because hopefully, most of us won't experience something like it in real life. It intrigues our curiosity. Fiction becomes our way of escape, living other people's lives and imaginations. Nagito's luck makes it so that he loses anyone that he gets attached to, so he can experience what it's like to have close friends. Junko can just read the future, so what's the point of delusion to strive for something? Effort becomes meaningless, so the two label their goal as their meaning. One calls it despair, one calls it hope, but with two different reasons why. It rids the two of a future. What made being a teenager so fun was the risk of finding ourselves, the risk of being made fun of, being gossiped on in class. It sucked, but being in perpetual anxiety, yet taking the risk anyways to make meaningful memories. And that's why we remember this part of our lives the most. There's so many questions to life, and the older we grow, sadly, the closer reality hits and the less questions we ask. But the two of them simplify the process that it rids life of its mysteries. To me, it's like finding the meaning of life, and it's just 2 pages. Like a manual to a Lego set. The two try to rationalize what I admit are their unfortunate situations, to push that same ideology onto others as if you solved life completely. If that's all there is to life, then what's the point? If all we need is hope, let's believe Nagito's philosophy for a bit, then all we have to do is everything that it takes to uphold hope, murder included, for it to take place, since hope is all that matters, isn't it? Or if it's despair, then why not go killing each other? Everything else in life pales in worth. It doesn't matter. Doesn't that sound
Boring.
Hajime was at both sides of Nagito and Junko. He believed he was entirely worthless without an ultimate, and as Izuru, saw that nothing mattered due to the world's predictability. This whole time, he was under the control of Hope's peak ideology and Junko's control. Hope's peak allured him because he wanted security, assurance, or a path in where he's headed. Hajime represents the teenagers who wanted an outlook for the future, working his ass off to secure one for himself, going through the traditional sense of success in hopes that he's headed the right direction. Being teenagers, we are not aware of where we're headed. We're not sure. This non-linearity pushes us to simpler ideologies that can help give us meaning. A clearer road in life. It's exacerbated with the creeping feeling of adulthood, so one resorts to sticking to ideas people have made, like they're the solutions to life to help with that uneasy thought. Should I sacrifice everything to achieve what everyone else thinks of as success? Or is it all meaningless? Hajime is always unsure of himself, following someone else who thinks they know a better place for him. So he became the very thing he always wanted. Assurance. He can predict the literal future and now suffers from boredom. In the end, Hajime became Izuru Kamukura. On their way to Jabberwock Island, AI Junko wanted to use their bodies to spread herself. A bunch of blonde women, which I think that's called the ASU campus. For Izuru's plan to take place, he has to be Hajime in the near world. The remnants of despair return to their pre-despair selves. As usual, there's always 16 students in this game. The last one is Chiaki. In Hope's speak, she connected everyone. Class 77B representative, and the final nail in the coffin for Hajime to become Izuru. The Chiaki here is not the same we saw in the anime. She's more robotic, analytical, blunt, compared to the anime Chiaki, whose main motivation was to connect friends together. Monami was supposed to take care of the class, and Chiaki's main mission was that, same as Monami's, to keep everyone safe as well. Guarding outside alongside Monami during Chapter 1, she guides Hajime and the class to Nagito as a possible culprit, helps us in Chapter 2 regarding Monokuma's little game, gives us another perspective in solving trials, almost like Kirigiri. She's almost downright genius, but that's because she's programmed to. Even when she attempts to do all that, she fails. Tugami dies, Fuyuhiko gets the folder first, fails to find the cure for the despair disease. It's AI Junko giving the middle finger to the Neo World program. But even when everyone is at the mercy of Monokuma's killing games, in the fourth trial, Monokuma provides an ultimatum. Either a murder takes place or everyone dies. Gundam is someone who imposes himself throughout his appearance in the game. He doesn't even falter to reveal the other side of Gundam. I'm not even sure if what he plays is a persona, so when everyone is starving to death, he takes the initiative. He doesn't back down. He decides to battle it out and go against Nekomaru, or in this chapter, Mekomaru. He dies according to his own rules. He follows his own path. He forges what he desires, his own future, which is a contrast to Hajime. Hajime here doesn't remember his ultimate ability, and is only revealed not to have any after the 4th trial. When everyone finds out he's talentless, everyone accepts him as their friend, yet he doesn't accept it himself. And in the 5th trial, when Nagito attempts to get everyone to vote incorrectly, Chiaki can't even muster the line to say that she's the culprit, because she's probably not programmed to. She has to make Hajime say it, which is funny, because now Hajime has to make the decision himself. However, in the graduation trial, Hajime finally saw who he'd become, what fighting for worth and losing himself meant. When asked if he could sacrifice himself to save the world, he doesn't know. He's left in stasis, begging for something to help guide him. This was a sudden weight put in his shoulders. All of a sudden, someone you've never met before is saying that you're Hitler. That's insane to hear. And now you're given this grand opportunity to redeem yourself, even if you don't remember a single thing. In Trigger Happy Havoc, Makoto becomes a hero and leads Junko to her death, taking on this grand and heroic position to save everyone. But as I said, SDR2 is a more realistic depiction of ourselves and what we do. Hajime is stunned. Does he pick graduate, and the world will fall to despair, or pick shutdown for him to be erased and the world be saved? In the end, hope or despair, either two can be their own versions of utopia, but human nature will always take precedent. The reason why utopia is impossible is because of human nature. Our desires come first. Hajime doesn't want a future for others. He wants one for himself. It looks selfish, but for once in his life does he finally decide for himself. For all his life, he's always had to pick options others have made. He's always been a puppet or a tool by everyone around him. Never in his life was he able to actually do what he truly wanted for himself. Everyone else in his franchise have always done things for everyone. They earn their worth from others, but he's always depended his self-worth to someone other than himself.
How much longer are you going to be this indecisive?
Huh?
Didn't you want to become someone with confidence? Isn't that why you admired Hope's Peak Academy?
During the final trial, we meet a Chiaki that's different from what we've seen in the game. She's more human. Throughout the game, we've seen a Chiaki from everyone's subconscious, but this time it's just Hajime's, and this is the Chiaki he remembers, the last conversation they've had together.
Having talent isn't the goal. There's something much more important than whether or not you have talent, right? What's important is that you believe in yourself. If you can't do that, no matter how much talent you possess, you will never be confident in yourself. Just like how you were in the past.
Who are you? I mean, you should have already disappeared, right?
I think it's time you finally had confidence in yourself.
Hey, Chiaki, can you tell me something? Which choice should I make? My hope? The world's hope? Which one should I choose?
You guys are the only ones who have the right to decide your future.
So you're saying I should choose for myself?
But if you can't choose either future, why don't you just create one? You guys don't have to just choose a future. You should be able to create one as well.
Do you think someone like me can do that?
If you just do it, things will turn out okay.
If I do it...
Hey, Hajime, this isn't for the sake of anyone else. You have to do this for yourself. No matter what kind of future it is, as long as you guys move toward it, I will never disappear. Everything that happened here, it won't be meaningless. If you guys carried the burden of both hope and despair, you should even be able to create the future.
Even if people don't acknowledge you, you just have to be someone that you can be proud of. 'Cause you yourself are your biggest supporter.
In the end, Hajime moves forward, not from big options others gave him, but from one he's finally created for himself, his future, his worth. So, to that teenager from 2020, in this endless sea of uncertainty that is life, you might keep hitting blanks, but eventually, those large chunks of monotonous moments hold tiny specks of hope that makes life meaningful. And we'll remember them, good or bad. That's when we truly grow to be ourselves.